morning. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Are we ready? Are we ready? Thank you very much. Yes, as you're aware, we are here at Seku since this morning in a very important exercise which has been convened by the Office of the President. What we have here is an annual meeting of all government agencies that deal with regulation. And by regulation, I mean the government agencies that assist the people of Kenya, the citizens of Kenya, to acquire what they require to do business or to also participate in national life. So we have regulators from all sectors, from agriculture, energy, food, and so forth and so forth. We have about 127 regulatory agencies that are meeting here. As I have said, this is the third annual meeting where we meet to look at the progress made and the impact we are creating to our people. And I think the next 3 days, these colleagues here, led by the head of public service and the PSCs who are in charge of the various state departments where these regulators are anchored, will be able to canvass what has been achieved in the last 1 year. The place of what we are discussing here is at the center of our constitutional order and our national life, because citizens of this country interact with government in terms of how government is able to assure them that the environment is protected, the water bodies are safe from pollution, the houses being constructed are regulated by the relevant agencies to make sure that they are safe. And so for us, this is where the rubber meets the road, if I may say so. This is where citizens interface with government on a daily basis and realize that since regulators wield a lot of statutory and constitutional authority, it's always good for us in the whole of government to assemble ourselves every year and even in between to make sure that we are doing the right thing, and this right thing is impacting on the citizens of this country, receiving feedback from ourselves but also from other stakeholders. And we've been challenged this morning that one of the things we need to do more is also to encourage feedback from members of the public on what they need, what they think should be done better to regulate our environment, our natural resources, our education, our health, and all the other spaces that are represented here. So it's a very important point for reflection. And we've had an opening session this morning where we've been reminded why this is important. We've been reminded that our country is run by a constitution that places the people at the center of everything that we do, and what government functionaries and agencies do or should do is to facilitate the people and not to prohibit the people from realizing their potential. So we've had a very good broad view of things at the start so that we understand the nature of our country, the constitutional and legal foundations on which it is based, and the ethics and the theory that should help us as public servants to serve the people. Because the people are bigger than government. That's the first lesson we've just been taught by our senior here, Professor Makao Mutua, that the people are superior to government, and government exists to serve the people. Number two, even as we talk about regulation, we are just facilitating the people to realize their socio-economic potential. We are not trying to inhibit them from doing this and doing this. And the presumption is that the citizens are entitled to what they are seeking to do unless there are constraining factors. There is a presumption of the legitimacy of their pursuit. And we've had a very good starting point. And I'm looking forward, although I may not be there throughout, through the colleagues who are remaining behind, we are looking forward to a lot of useful lessons that we can pick as servants of the people, as government functionaries, so that our service delivery ideology is wired in line with the constitutional paradigms that govern our country, so that we don't become the bosses of the people. We become servants of the people as we are, and presume that the people should be given priority over the offices we hold and the functions that we perform in the public sector. So we are very happy to be part of this, and we are grateful to SECU for giving us this wonderful environment for reflection and for cross-pollination of ideas. We are extremely grateful, and this just speaks to how successful our nation has come, how far we've come. You know, in Kitui County here, you have this kind of a facility that can host all these senior people. And I think these institutions that we are putting across the country will help us even achieve some of the national objectives that we are looking at in our journey to move into the first world. We've also been reminded of the need for us to know that the things that we look for as a nation will not be possible unless we fight poverty and make the citizen empowered. If you have large sections of the citizens not able to assert themselves, not empowered, especially from the bondage of poverty, many of the things that we want to do and to see will not happen. And I think on this note is a good space, a good place for me to say that this Kitui, this SECU and this Kitui has given us a very good opportunity. However, we know recently there was a small but quite consequential security issue here when we lost some people in this county. I think just slightly over a week ago, and we are taking that incident extremely seriously as government. And I think it's a good place for me when I'm in Kitui to say that what happened recently in this county is a serious infraction on our stability as a nation. We are taking every effort to make sure that those who are responsible for the death of quite a number of Kenyans, we take action. But more importantly, we want to make sure that we don't have incidents like this reoccurring, because they push us backwards. After we've taken some steps forward, this kind of happenings push us backwards. And therefore, on behalf of the government of Kenya and on behalf of our security managers, I want to give the assurance to the people of Kitui that we will return normalcy and sustain normalcy. It is barbaric for citizens to kill one another for whatever reason, for people just to wake up and take weapons and go and use those weapons on their own fellow countrymen and women. It is barbaric. It pushes us backwards. And therefore we are taking that very seriously, and already some progress has been made in terms of accountability, but we will not be satisfied until finally we get rid of ourselves. We get rid of this kind of problems from our midst. And I know as a former security minister, I've been in this part of the country many times. we've had similar incidents. The current one was between residents of Tana River and residents of Kitui. We've had similar incidents between residents of Kitui and the recent one was Garissa, Kitui, but we have also had incidents between Tana River and Kitui and many other parts of our country that still have a tenuous security environment, which we must firm up and make sure that our country is safe, it is secure, it gives dignity to people, and when they wake up in the morning, they don't expect that another citizen will come from nowhere with a gun, with a knife, and end their life in a brutal manner. So I thought I should mention that while I'm here, but that is what brought us here. If there is one question, I can take it, because I don't want to keep these colleagues here for long, so that we go back and continue with our deliberations.
Your Excellency, speaking about the insecurity in this part of the country, I'm sure you are aware about the number of people who have died. Can you talk to the country about the specific actions? And again, we've had politicians saying they own camels all over, and the residents of this region have been pleading the government to get those camels out of their places, out of their farms, out of the neighboring game parks and reserves. What is the government position on this?
The position of government, first and foremost, is peaceful coexistence among the people of Kenya. Secondly, the position of government from a security standpoint is that the ever-occurring incidents of conflicts between pastoralists, farmers, and other resource issues that bring this kind of incidents, we must find a permanent solution. And I don't think anybody has a right to graze another person's crops to save their livestock from death. As much as saving livestock from death is a legitimate objective, it cannot be used as a basis of violating the property rights of other people. We've already started by saying we live in a country that is guided by law and certain constitutional norms. And as much as this constitution empowers every citizen and gives them rights, your right ends at the point where my right starts. And therefore, anybody who thinks they have the right to punch or throw punches in the air must know that that right to throw punches in the air ends where my nose starts. That is the position of government. The position of government is that livestock keepers, farmers, traders, all manner of people have a legitimate right to pursue their socio-economic empowerment, but not at the risk of the rights of other people. So we've made some progress in terms of immediate accountability, but as I've said, it's not enough just to punish the wrongdoer. That's not enough. It's the starting point. The starting point is to make sure that that interface between livestock and crops is sustainably managed. And I think our managers here, security officials, have been instructed on what to do. And the relevant ministry is seized of the matter. And the instructions that the government has given is that that should extend to the other places where we have similar issues, so that we should not just say we are doing this because of Kitui, and then tomorrow something else arises in another part of the country. So that's what we are doing. Maybe one last one.
Mr. Deputy President, these repeated killings have happened not once, not twice. Perhaps as a senior government official, could you tell the nation who has been arming these Camel pastoralists or whatever they are, and what is the long-term solution that as a government you plan to disarm the pastoralists, or are we going to see another scenario of kicking them out and then coming back again at the same time? Because it has happened while you are still the Interior Minister.
And just like that one, Your Excellency, when,
Yes.
when a senior cabinet secretary goes public to say that he owns camels, is that not an admission of guilt on the part of government? And how are you dealing with the perception down here?
How is owning camels a crime?
Because the camels, the owners of those camels are the ones killing people.
Let me respond as
it
follows.
creates an image of political instigation and all that.
Let me first say that we should not politicize crime. That is the easiest shortcut to losing the war against crime. And for all recurrent crimes, crimes that keeps on reoccurring, whether it's banditry, terrorism, and other forms of organized crime, the easier excuse is the politicization. Instead of breaking down the infrastructure of crime and violence in a long-term manner. And that's why I've insisted on a long-term sustained approach, because even if a particular incident is addressed and people are taken to court and are jailed for life, then tomorrow there will be another attack, and the other day there will be another attack. And I like the way you put it, that we've had a similar incident like that before, and I've been here several times. There are some measures we took that time that gave us quite a lot of progress. But still, the nature of these conflicts and these criminal activities is that they require long-term solutions, which we are working on. And the same way we have been able to suppress banditry significantly, the same way we have been able to suppress terrorism in the Boni Enclave, northern Kenya for a while. I believe even these resource conflicts and criminals hiding under resource conflicts to perpetuate crime, we will crack them. Even between there is a political leader or a member of government who is involved, that should not be a difficult thing, because crime is just crime. That's how the way I look at it. You remember 3 years ago we had a lot of politics around banditry, but that politics we were able to keep away and take it away from that problem that was affecting our people. So I want to assure the people of Kitui, we will make sure you're safe. The government has directed all those who are responsible to make sure that this should not be treated as just an incident, but it should be seen as a window to firm our hand as government, not for Kitui County alone, but for the rest of the country. And nobody, as I have said, has a right to infringe on the right of others simply because they are pursuing their rights. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. Buena siku njema.